Why is it that despite all we've built, all we've bought, all we've achieved, we remain restless? Why do you, even now, in the quiet of your own life, still feel a storm inside? We scroll endlessly, we chase money, success, and love. Yet when the noise fades, the ache remains. This storm, your racing thoughts, your guilt, your fears, it is not here to crush you. It is here to awaken you, to show you that no matter how loud the world gets, silence is still the deepest teacher. 2,000 years ago, a man climbed a hill in Galilee and spoke words that turned the world upside down. Words so dangerous they threatened empires. He didn't hand out new commandments or self-help slogans. He revealed something far deeper. The Beatitudes. Not rules, not religion. A revelation of how the soul transforms. The Beatitudes are not comfort for the weak. They are fire for the strong. They are a radical call to tear down your false self, to dismantle illusions, to wake up from the dream that success and control will save you. Stay until the end of this journey, because what you will hear are not just words. They are weapons, shields, a mirror into your soul. If you stay, you'll see how to transform chaos into clarity, fear into strength, emptiness into peace. The journey begins with emptiness, the kind of poverty your ego fears the most. If you're ready for a journey deeper than motivation, subscribe now, because what you're about to hear is not surface advice, it's soul surgery, and you don't want to miss the next step. Poverty of spirit, the strength of emptiness. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. This is the first step. Poverty of spirit is not about bank accounts. It is not about failure. It is about humility. It is admitting I am not enough without God. The ego hates this. The ego insists you are in control, that you are strong, that you don't need anyone. But pride is a fortress that suffocates you. A cup already full cannot be filled. Only emptiness can receive. Think of it like this. If Tiger Woods offered to teach you golf and you told him you were already a master, what could he give you? Nothing. But if you said, I know nothing, teach me, then his wisdom could transform you. So it is with God. Poverty of spirit is not self-hatred. It is clarity. It is knowing that everything, breath, strength, life itself, is borrowed. It is dependency, not on the fragile structures of this world, but on the source of all things. This is why Jesus begins here, because until you admit you are empty, you cannot be filled. Until you confess you are blind, you cannot see. Poverty of spirit cracks open the ego and allows light to pour in. The kingdom of heaven does not belong to the powerful, the wealthy, or the proud. It belongs to the empty, the ones humble enough to receive. And once you open your hands in emptiness, something unexpected flows in. Mourning. The mourning heart. Love's hidden cry. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Mourning is more than grief at a funeral. It is the ache of love. We mourn because we care. The deeper the love, the sharper the loss. But Jesus points to something even deeper. Do you mourn the state of your soul? Do you grieve the brokenness of this world? Do you allow yourself to feel sorrow for wasted lives, for cruelty, for sin? Or do you numb it with distraction and pride? True mourning is not weakness. It is the heart refusing to grow cold. It is compassion sharpened into pain. It is God's own sadness running through your veins. Think of Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane. He wept blood, not out of fear of death, but out of grief for humanity's sin. He mourned not himself, but us. When you mourn the suffering of the world, not with judgment, but with love, you share his heart. Why is this blessed? Because mourning cracks open the heart. A heart that mourns is a heart that can be comforted, healed, and transformed. A numb heart feels nothing, neither pain nor love. Mourning is proof that you are still alive, still human, still capable of compassion. To mourn is to stand with Christ in his sorrow, and in that place of tears, you will find his arms around you. But love must be carried with strength, which is why the next step is meekness. The meek, gentle as a feather, strong as iron. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Meekness is not cowardice. It is not weakness. It is strength under control. Imagine a scale inside you. Someone insults you. Do you explode into rage? Do you collapse into self-pity? Or do you remain steady, unmoved? That is meekness, calm endurance in the face of offense. Christ himself modeled this. Accused, beaten, humiliated, he did not retaliate. His silence was not weakness. It was invincibility. Weak people lash out. Meek people absorb the blow without losing themselves. Meekness is dangerous because it makes you untouchable. The world cannot manipulate you with praise or crush you with criticism. You are anchored, rooted. This is why the meek inherit the earth. They cannot be bought, sold, or conquered. They endure while the proud burn themselves out. In a world addicted to outrage, meekness is rebellion. To be gentle, patient, and forgiving when everyone else demands vengeance, that is radical power. Meekness is not about shrinking. It is about standing tall without needing to strike back. It is about carrying peace like armor. But once you find stillness, something ignites inside you. Hunger, a desperate hunger for what is right. Hunger for righteousness, the fire that won't die. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Christ is not describing polite appetite. He speaks of desperation, like a starving man clawing for bread, like a lost sailor dying for water. Do you hunger for righteousness like that? Do you thirst for justice so fiercely that you cannot ignore it? Or do you settle for crumbs of compromise? Righteousness here is not self-righteousness. It is not pride. It is the relentless pursuit of the next right thing. Choosing honesty when lying is easier. Choosing courage when silence would protect you. Choosing truth even if it costs you everything. The world is addicted to compromise. It whispers, everyone cheats. Everyone cuts corners. Don't take it so seriously. But the soul that hungers for righteousness cannot be bribed or silenced. It burns for something higher than approval. And here is the paradox. Only those who starve for righteousness will ever be satisfied. Because Christ himself is the bread and the water. He said, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never hunger. Whoever believes in me will never thirst. To crave righteousness is to crave him, and he alone can satisfy. But righteousness without mercy becomes cruelty, which is why the next blessing is mercy, the currency of heaven. Mercy, the currency of heaven. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Mercy is not optional. It is the lifeblood of the kingdom. Without it, you will suffocate. Imagine God showing you the same mercy you've shown others. Would you survive, or would you be buried under your own bitterness? Mercy interrupts the endless cycle of revenge. Mercy forgives not because the offender deserves it, but because you have already been forgiven. Mercy is divine, not human. I once knew a mother whose son was murdered. At the funeral, she begged the crowd to forgive the killer. That is not human. That is God. That is Christ alive in her. Mercy is not weakness. It is the greatest strength. Anyone can judge. Anyone can condemn. But to forgive, this is divine rebellion. Christ said, be merciful as your Father is merciful. Not just with friends, with enemies, with those who betray you, with those you despise. The merciful carry God's DNA. They will be shown mercy because they have become mercy. But mercy requires vision, and vision comes only to the pure in heart. If this is piercing through the noise, share it. Someone in your life is desperate for mercy, and this might be the message that saves them. Pure in heart, the eyes of the soul. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Purity of heart is not about perfection, it is about vision. Anne Catherine Emmerich once said, the human being's true organ of sight is not the eyes, it is the heart. And she was right. Your heart is a window, but most of us have piled clutter in front of it. Distractions, addictions, lust, greed, resentment, pride, unforgiveness. Each one is a stone that blocks the light. And then we wonder why the world feels dim. Purity of heart means honesty, transparency. It means removing the disguises, facing your motives, allowing God to burn away the fog. It is not sinlessness, it is surrender. When the heart clears, vision changes. You see people not as tools or threats, but as souls. You see yourself without masks, and most importantly, you see God, not somewhere out there, but right here, in the stillness of your being. The pure in heart live with uncluttered vision, and because they see clearly, they love truly. But vision must be carried into action, which is why the children of God are peacemakers. Peacemakers, children of God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Notice, not peacekeepers. Peacemakers. Peacekeeping avoids conflict. Peacemaking confronts division and heals it. The word diabolos, from which we get devil, means to divide, to scatter. Division is the enemy's weapon. Christ's mission was the opposite, to reunite what had been torn apart, to make whole again. Ask yourself, do you bring peace or do you stir conflict? Do you feed the good wolf inside you or the bad one? The one who wins is the one you feed. Peacemaking begins within. You cannot heal the world if you are at war with yourself. But when your own storm stills, your presence becomes healing to others. This is not softness, it is war. The war of refusing gossip, the war of swallowing pride, the war of forgiving instead of fighting. To make peace is to imitate God. To sow division is to imitate the enemy. But when you live like this in a world of chaos, expect persecution, and that is the next blessing. The persecuted won the crown of thorns. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Understand this. If you truly live the Beatitudes, you will not fit in. The world celebrates pride, greed, vengeance, lust. If you refuse them, you will be mocked. If you choose meekness over rage, you will be seen as weak. If you choose mercy over revenge, you will be despised. Christ placed this last for a reason. If you live the first 7, persecution will follow. The world crucifies what it cannot control. But persecution is not a curse, it is proof. Proof that you are walking the same path as Christ. Proof that you belong to the kingdom. Truth wears the crown of thorns. If you seek only applause, you will abandon him. But if you endure shame for his sake, you will inherit glory. This is why the powers of his age trembled, because the Beatitudes were more dangerous than any sword. Why the powers trembled? The Beatitudes inverted the entire power structure. Rome ruled through fear, wealth, domination. The temple elites clung to pride and prestige. Into this system, Jesus declared, "The poor are blessed. The meek will inherit. The mourners will be comforted." Can you see why they trembled? If peasants, slaves, and outcasts believed they were heirs of the kingdom, the empire's illusion would collapse. The Beatitudes were not harmless spirituality. They were dynamite. They declared that no Caesar, no Sanhedrin, no system of power had the authority to decide who was blessed. They were spiritual truth and political resistance woven into one. And so the powerful sought one thing: silence him. Who tried to silence him? The Pharisees hated him because he dismantled their pride. The Sadducees feared him because he undermined their control. Rome despised him because his teachings threatened their empire. Even his disciples resisted because his way was not the path of worldly triumph. The Beatitudes threatened everyone invested in the old order. They declared that God's blessing was not for the elite, but for the humble, the broken, the meek. And so they plotted to kill him. The crucifixion was the inevitable clash between truth and a world built on lies. But understand, those same voices still whisper in you. Every time your ego says, "Don't humble yourself, don't forgive, don't make peace," protect yourself. That is the same voice that conspired to silence Christ. And this is why the Beatitudes are not just scripture, they are resistance then and now. The Beatitudes as resistance. The Beatitudes resist everything the world worships. They resist greed with poverty of spirit. They resist numbness with mourning. They resist vengeance with meekness. They resist corruption with hunger for righteousness. They resist cruelty with mercy. They resist lust and distraction with purity. They resist division with peace. They resist oppression with courage and persecution. Rome could crucify Jesus, but it could not crucify these truths. They lived on, burning in his followers, spreading until the empire itself bent beneath their weight. To live the Beatitudes today is to wage war against the false gods of our culture, materialism, vanity, domination, and fear. It is to declare allegiance not to empire, not to ego, but to Christ himself. But what does that look like in your own life? Let's hold up the mirror. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching, you're awakening. Hit like, not for me, but to tell the algorithm we crave truth, not noise. Beatitudes in the mirror. The Beatitudes are not distant ideals, they are mirrors. Which one exposes you? Do you hate admitting weakness? Poverty of spirit convicts you. Do you avoid your grief? Mourning calls you out. Does your temper flare? Meekness challenges you. Do you compromise when no one's watching? Hunger for righteousness confronts you. Do you hold grudges? Mercy unmasks you. Is your heart cluttered with distractions? Purity reveals you. Do you stir conflict? Peace judges you. Do you fear being mocked for your faith? Persecution tests you. This is the point. The Beatitudes don't just describe Jesus, they expose us. They strip away masks, excuses, and illusions. They show you who you really are. But don't run from the mirror, because what the Beatitudes reveal, they can also heal. And this is why they still matter more than ever in today's world. Why they still matter today. Look around. Depression rising, anxiety epidemic, families fractured, politics divided, wars burning. What is missing? Humility, compassion, forgiveness, purity, peace, everything the Beatitudes embody. Science now confirms what Christ revealed. Gratitude reshapes the brain, compassion heals trauma, forgiveness lowers blood pressure and stress, humility strengthens resilience, purity of intention clears mental fog. The Beatitudes are not religious poetry, they are spiritual psychology. The world tells you peace comes from money, status, dominance. But modern data proves otherwise. Lasting peace comes from gratitude, forgiveness, love, the DNA of the Beatitudes. They matter because the human condition hasn't changed. We have new toys, new technology, but the same wounds. The Beatitudes remain the cure. And when you live them, your entire inner wiring begins to shift. Rewiring the inner attitude. The Beatitudes are reprogramming for the soul. They dismantle destructive patterns and replace them with divine ones. Poverty of spirit rewires pride. Mourning rewires numbness. Meekness rewires rage. Hunger rewires compromise. Mercy rewires vengeance. Purity rewires lust. Peace rewires division. Persecution rewires fear. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity, the brain's power to reshape itself. Christ called it transformation. The words are different, but the truth is the same. Every time you choose humility over pride, forgiveness over rage, compassion over indifference, your brain literally rewires. The Beatitudes train your mind and spirit to align with God's heart. And when your inner storm shifts, your outer world bends with it. But here's the hard truth. You will fail, and you already have. Hard truth, why you fail. Let's be honest. You resist the Beatitudes because they are hard. It's easier to numb than to mourn. Easier to lash out than to forgive. Easier to blend in than to be persecuted. Ego hates the Beatitudes because they require death, the death of pride, selfishness, false identity. That's why most ignore them. That's why you ignore them. But nothing grows in pride, and nothing dies in humility except illusions. The good news? Failure is not the end. Christ blesses not perfection, but direction. The path is narrow, but every step you take reshapes you. And as you keep walking, the Beatitudes become your armor. Living with spiritual armor. The Beatitudes are not fragile ideals. They are armor. Poverty of spirit shields you from arrogance. Mourning shields you from indifference. Meekness shields you from rage. Hunger shields you from compromise. Mercy shields you from bitterness. Purity shields you from deception. Peace shields you from division. Persecution shields you from cowardice. The world is obsessed with revenge. Mercy disarms it. The world is addicted to outrage. Meekness neutralizes it. The world thrives on fear. Poverty of spirit defeats it. This is why the Beatitudes make you untouchable. Not because they protect you from suffering, but because they give suffering meaning. And here are 10 practical ways to start embodying them today. 10 practical applications for today. Admit weakness at work or home. Ask for help. Poor in spirit. Journal your grief instead of numbing it. Mourning. Pause before reacting. Choose gentleness. Meekness. Do the next right thing when no one's looking. Hunger for righteousness. Forgive one person you resent. Mercy. Unplug for 10 minutes of silence. Purity. Mediate a small conflict peacefully. Peacemaking. Speak an unpopular truth, even if mocked. Persecution. Stop judging strangers online. Show empathy. Mercy, peace. Serve someone quietly without recognition. All combine. These are not lofty ideals, they are weapons. Practice them and watch your world transform. But know this, the path comes with a cross, and the cross is where the crown is found. The crown and the cross. To live the Beatitudes is to embrace the cross. The world will misunderstand you, mock you, even despise you. But this is not failure. It is proof you're on the narrow road. Christ wore a crown of thorns before a crown of glory. You cannot inherit his peace without sharing his wounds. But suffering in his way is not meaningless. It purifies. It shapes you into his likeness. It makes you untouchable by the world, because your life is rooted in eternity. The Beatitudes do not shield you from pain. They transform pain into glory. And so we end with the final benediction: peace, clarity, and God himself. The final benediction. The Beatitudes are not rules. They are revelations. They are Christ's own heart unveiled. If you live them, the storm inside you will still. Fear will lose its grip. Ego will loosen its claws. You will walk with clarity, peace, and power the world cannot give or take away. Jesus whispers, "Happy are you who live this way, for the kingdom is already within you." The path is hard, you will stumble, but keep walking. Every step makes you more like him. Every step draws heaven closer. This is the benediction: clarity, peace, strength, not from the world, but from God himself. If this journey touched you, share it. Let it ripple. And if you want more, subscribe. Because peace is not a one-time gift. It is a path we walk together.